At the end of your life, what will be your legacy? What will you leave behind for future generations? For the world, join the World Messenger, Izabela Lundberg, each week as she brings you a new distinguished guest from the business, sports, or entertainment world to share their success, their struggles, and their lessons. They will share their insights into current hot topics that affect everyone. Izabela facilitates an intimate, vulnerable environment to find the true value of humanity and real leadership. Are you ready for your legacy? The legacy that matters?
Hello, my beautiful friends. It's Izabela Lundberg here, the World Messenger, and I welcome you yet for another epic Legacy Leader show. Today, I have a powerhouse woman that is coming and joining us from West Palm Beach, Florida. She's young, she's smart, she's successful, she's absolutely genuine, one of the most genuine people I met this far. She's a LinkedIn guru and growth expert, founder of a phenomenal global growth community that I'm extremely proud to be part of, Growth Academy. And she just started Growth Entrepreneurs podcast. She's also a cancer survivor with amazing, powerful story that I guys cannot wait to depict with her in this session. And without further ado, it's a pleasure to welcome Shaneé Moret. Shaneé, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, good middle of the day. I really appreciate the invitation, Izabela.
Oh, absolutely. I know you're super busy. I know it's end of the year, but I really wanted to use month of December to bring back for people that helped me, supporting me, and made most impact actually. And even though we don't know each other so long, it's unbelievable what I'm already seeing that is shaping and changing in my life. And what better way to finish end of the year when highlighting people like herself and for others to discover.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I try to do things as soon as possible. I have a lot to do in a week, but if I could do something today, I'll try to not push it off as much as possible. Sometimes things happen and stuff, but I try to just be that type of person.
That's okay. I know it's hard to juggle, and you just moved to new home, and congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. We're going to be working on the studio, so it's going to look completely different by like January. So that's cool.
That's fantastic. So more shows and more recordings and more great content, I bet, right?
Yeah, just more actions in general. I want to be very clear on my goals going into 2021. And I think that, I was talking to a friend the other day who just randomly called me, and I was talking to her, and then she three-wayed somebody because we were talking about she's like an expert in publishing and stuff. So talking about a book, and then she just three-wayed her one friend in who has done a compilation or collaboration book with like Tony Robbins and all of that. And I don't know, like he just started talking, and this guy is extremely successful. And he was like, he said something that just like caught my attention so much. And he was like, listen, if you have like the skill set, and I don't know, like whoever's faith, what you guys believe in or don't believe in doesn't really matter to me, right? But if you do have some type of faith, like his message was, if you have like certain skill sets, and you don't use them to like the fullest of your ability, even during times where, let's say, there's a pandemic or there's chaos, sometimes that we feel like the need to slow down, because that was kind of like her challenge, is that that's why she called him and put him on three-way, and I just happened to be on the phone, was that she kind of feels like, we're in a pandemic, she has to lower her prices, she has to do a little bit less and all of that stuff. And then she calls this guy, and he's like, no, like you have to do more. You have to work with the right people, you have to do more. He's like, if you have these skill sets that you were blessed with, and if you can even profit during a pandemic, like it's almost your obligation to leverage them to the fullest of your ability, because the more you have, the more the right people you work with, the more you're able to give back to the people that are suffering. So anyways, that's just like interesting how like one phone call, a message can like give you a message. So that's kind of my thinking going into 2021 is I do have these skill sets, and now more than ever, people are wondering how they can make money from their home. And so my plan is to leverage them to the fullest of their ability in 2021.
That is brilliant. And I love what you said. I'm sure that deep down with people that I work from all over the world and closely from over 120 countries, everybody grew up with some spiritual and religious belief and foundation.
Hmm.
And I feel like that is our food for thought during those challenging, difficult times. And you spot on. And I love what you just shared. Sometimes we're not even aware of what we got. And sometimes
Right.
the different perspective, right? Is like, oh
Hmm.
my God, you're so brilliant in XYZ. Did you ever thought about this? And
Hmm.
a lot of times we get kind of puzzled because it's like, oh my God, I never thought about me, being having strength in this way.
Hmm.
And I'm so glad that you're helping people to uncover where they're the best at and where they can shine and how they can be thriving in just surviving, right?
Yeah. It's unfortunately just a lot of people were thrown into a position where they have no idea how to leverage their skill set, no idea how to reach more people. Like, even let's say someone like my mom was telling me the other day, like, what you're doing is amazing, because my generation, they're used to networking, like shaking hands and the business card and stuff like that. So a lot of her friends that lost employment and stuff during the pandemic, they're like completely lost right now because they don't even have an online network. They don't know how to build one. They don't know how to present themselves in a way where like other people would find valuable. And so uh, she's like, what you're doing is really helping people. And that's my intention, obviously.
Yes. And one of the things for listeners and viewers, and of course, you guys will discover, most of you, I'm sure we will already know who Shaneé is, but for the ones that don't, when you go look at her LinkedIn profile, she's creating phenomenal community organically based on who she is, how her words resonate with others. And as a result, people are just super excited to support and help one another, which is very rare and unusual in so many ways because people tend to have a competition, as you mentioned,
Hmm.
or do old traditional ways around business or sales, and all of a sudden, this is just like cultivating very beautiful, supportive, but
Hmm.
also willing to share or help and build others community. Do you mind
Yeah.
sharing a little bit about how that started and a little bit how did you get some more major breakthroughs?
It really started because of demand. Like, people, I guess the timing of how I was growing on LinkedIn, I had already reached, I think, like 400 or 500,000 followers, like when the lockdown started happening. And so a lot of people just naturally started to reach out, like, hey, do you have because at that time I was just helping companies, like healthcare companies, leverage LinkedIn and stuff like that. But we were doing, a done for you service. We were managing the entire campaign, and obviously not everyone has those type of funds. So a lot of people were just asking me, do you have like a course? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I kept saying no, but after like the 50th person, I was like, maybe I should, right? Like, they keep asking me, and I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? And I started to really think about how I would want to do it, because I started looking at the research, and a lot of people don't finish courses. Like, they start them, but because they don't finish them, they don't apply them. There's no accountability to just a singular course, right? They pay for it, and sometimes they don't even open it. So I wanted it to be more than a course, and obviously even more than a community, really like a full growth experience. So I just got the advice of a few of the most successful people that I know have grown communities, and they gave me some advice. And none of the studios were open in South Florida, like video studios. So I just started taking the videos at home, and I launched, I think, like a month later. And I was like, what's the worst that can happen, right? Nobody's interested and whatever. But we're almost at 500 members between the Latino group and the English group, which was another thing that I didn't foresee. Just learning as I went is like, once the second I launched the course, a lot of my Latino, like Spanish speaking connections were like, is it available in Spanish? And I'm like, Oh, I'm like, it could be, So then I had to have my editors like add Spanish subtitles because I didn't have the time to like redo the whole videos in Spanish. But it's the same thing. We offer the weekly, live training in Spanish, and the stars kind of aligned where a Latin connection of mine in Peru, she just reached out and saw the potential of it and was like, I want to be the, Latin American market leader. And I was like, okay, let's do it. And I mean, she's building it great. So
Yes, and I love how organically you go and you start and organically you figure things out as
yeah,
they come. You don't plan, you don't bake, you don't pre-sell, you don't try something so
I
hard.
know, right?
Which all of those old traditional ways, as I'm sure your mom is also very aware, I was like, this is not working anymore. And how do we now strip away all what we used to learn and unlearn and learn a new way, right?
Mhm. Yeah, and well, my obvious advantage was that like I had built my LinkedIn network, right? And I had just been producing content for almost 2 years already. So a lot of them, a lot of people trust me on LinkedIn. So when my thing was like I didn't want to deliver a product that was not going to be able to really help people. So I kind of looked at what was out there and I was like, okay, I want to deliver something even more exceptional than this when it came to the course, but also when it came to the community, when it came to what we offer, and when it came to the results. And like as you see, like in wins and just experiences that people have had, it's been even more than what I would have imagined. I thought people were going to grow on LinkedIn, but like it's been so much more than that. Like it's been like growth and confidence. Like people that didn't have the confidence to do a video are now like not only doing videos, but like on LinkedIn Live every day and like hosting their live shows, launching podcasts. Like it's been a real transformation for a lot of the members that goes far beyond just business.
Wow. And for all the listeners and viewers, you just launched this Growth Academy in August. Is that correct?
In the middle of September.
Middle of the September. Okay.
Hmm.
And I was aware of it middle of November, October.
Hmm.
So just a little bit a month prior. And guys, it's unbelievable again when you are putting yourself out there, what
Hmm.
is possible. But
Hmm.
before even Growth Academy, I feel like you have such a phenomenal big why. And that drives everything you do. Do you
Hmm.
mind sharing, audience? Because I know things were not easy and gets challenging and difficult. But if we just focus on that, we will always feel exhausted, tired, and lose the power of to move forward, put yourself out there. But
Hmm.
your why is propelling you over and over, and even most challenging times. Do you mind
Yeah.
sharing how did you get to that point, and how is this now driving you in this amazing, flourishing community?
Yeah. So, well, I faced like a lot of, I would say, like health trauma when I was young. I was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer. I had several surgeries and stuff. So from a very young age, like as a child, I was kind of aware of the fact that like we don't have all the time in the world, you know.
Mm.
Um, and one moment we're here, and the next moment we could be gone, and that really, that kind of changes even the way you grow up. I just was very aware of that. I was not uh, a naive child just because I lived most of my childhood like in a hospital back and forth on and off. So I was very in tune to the fact that like suffering is a part of life and that you don't live forever and stuff like that. So just my whole life I was kind of, I guess, more self-aware and practice introspection and kind of always asking myself, what legacy do I want to leave behind? What type of thing do I want to do? Always driven by like helping others. And so that, but having my daughter, I had my daughter, she just turned 4. So I had her 4 years ago, December 8th, 2016. And she really like matured me, because I was always kind of in tune and self-aware, but I really wasn't taking action. And when I had now this baby to take care of, and I wanted to provide like the best things for her. That's when I really started to get serious and take action. So she was truly a blessing. And that's really just been like the secret of the transformation of my life from like 4 years ago to 2 years ago when I started on LinkedIn to today. It's just been like doing a lot more, like working 100 times harder than what I did, 4 years ago, taking 100 times more actions, meeting 100 times more people, and that just has led to me meeting the right people, thankfully, but a lot of work up to reading the right high level connections that obviously then saw something in me and then wanted to mentor me to bring me to the next level. So
Wow, that is a brilliant share, and I love that you'd walk us through your why and major transformation and how much is possible to accomplish in such a short period of time. But
mhm.
I love what you also just said. You created a lot of successes, you build a lot of momentum, and you're not slowing down. Matter of fact,
Oh,
you're working
I feel
harder.
like I haven't even started. But that's also because of who I'm spending time around, like who I'm surrounding myself with. And I feel like a lot of people, they look for like these coaches or mentors, but it's almost like you have to, just like a coach or a mentor is putting time in you. Like if you don't really deliver the results or they don't see that you're taking action to, from the advice or whatever that they're giving you, they won't continue to invest in you, whether it just be their time or their wisdom or whatever. So I'm also a person that, like, if given the opportunity to make a high level connection and to get some type of wisdom from them, that I'm going to make sure that they see that I'm like putting it into action so that they continue to like, invest their time and energy and wisdom into me so I can continue to grow.
I think that is so brilliant too, because I've been in situations too when people will not take seriously, even if they
Hmm.
pay me my time, and then before you know it, it's like why we did not accomplish certain outcomes, and it's like
Right.
you have to I can give you all the ingredients, and you
Right.
still have to do the work, and I feel like a lot of times people are looking for that silver bullet and looking for the quick shortcut, aren't they? And it's like it's no shortcuts, guys, that you have to constantly adjust. And
Yeah.
I have to say, I've been on LinkedIn for a while, and I'm being through stages before Microsoft purchased through LinkedIn, and so many things and that I was able to do. And all of a sudden, I was like, I am lost. Since when this changed so much? Even
Hmm.
though I was like, still posting once a day or still being involved, I was just like lost momentum of to transformation and change that even platform itself went through, let
Hmm.
alone what my colleagues or my targeted audience went through.
Right.
So I have to say that change really does impact us on so many levels beyond just ourselves, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Yeah, it does. I mean, listen, the more you have and the more you achieve, the more you can help people and the more you can inspire people. And I mean, I was telling people this a year ago, like you really need to invest in your brand because it's something that, nobody can replicate your story. No, they can replicate the pricing of your products or your services. They can replicate everything else. They could even try to replicate the process, but they can't replicate the energy that you bring. They can't replicate you. So um, I was telling people this. And then obviously, when the pandemic started and when quarantine hit, like the lockdowns, people were like, oh my gosh, how am I going to reach, my customers? And then they started to see the value of building a brand online.
Very, very true. Because I remember, and then dealing with Fortune 500 in the past, having a brand that deviates from the company's brand that you're part of was
Hmm.
like, oh my God. But then it's like you change the job or brand you build with the company, and that goes away.
Yeah.
And then like where do you end up with that? And I
Right.
always believed in the value of that. It's always like self-branding and understanding what you bring to the table, and everything you just mentioned now, it's more than ever important. So do you mind sharing, you touch also something that I feel like it's still underutilized, and for me was underutilized personally also, telling my story, because the way we were being indoctrinated that LinkedIn is not the Facebook, and leave all these things somewhere else, and kind of almost sterilized environment, and also opportunity truly to make a connections from heart center that are natural, that are genuine, that are real. So do you mind elaborate a little bit more about that shift that so many of us might still struggling with?
Yeah, I mean, it's backed up by science. People that, let's say, they don't believe it at face value, they could look this up. Like, our brains are not wired to remember information or prices or data. They're wired to remember stories, which is why, like, huge people like Oprah and Gary Vee and a lot of other mega influencers, they constantly just share their story again and again because people connect with it, people resonate with it. And as long as you could catch someone's attention, they start paying you in time and energy. And obviously, a percentage of the people that pay you in time and energy are eventually going to eventually pay you in money and give you the opportunity to serve them through your service or product. So, like I said, if you're just depending on pricing to differentiate yourself, somebody can come along and match your price, or somebody can come along and replicate your product or your service. And how are you going to differentiate? There's no like bridge to which people are going to feel that connection to you. So you have to leverage your story if you want to differentiate because it's yours.
Yes, and it's unique to you, and it's only your experience and nobody else's. That is like
Hmm.
a combination of all of those elements. You're spot
Hmm.
on. So power story, guys, again, is definitely something to uncover, and I'm just super thrilled to learn so much in such a short period from Shaneé, and specifically learn it and unlearn it in a way, because things change and we have to be flexible.
Yeah.
But I have to share something. I mean, you started recently podcast, which I absolutely
Hmm.
love, and how, again, real, raw, genuine, and how you come across. And you open my eye on something. I mean, every episode has so much value by all means, but something just hit me, because I used to, again, coach, train, and work in corporate America with sales teams, and look at their processes, etc., etc. And we looked at the different models of sales, and trainings and modules, and you name it.
Hmm.
And then you mentioned something about 5 emotions that influence every single sale.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God, breaking it down to and distilling what those 5 core keywords were. And for
Hmm.
everybody, guys, you have to go to Growthpreneurs to listen to the podcast. But one thing that really made me super excited and happy, that you can still be heart-centered and still
Hmm.
successful and produce the income. And I remember I was told that I'm foolish and too optimistic and naive, and and it was always this alpha male groups and dynamics, and upping up each other of our accomplishments and everything, and I never felt like this was my world. And
Right.
that episode and that sharing opened my eyes in so many ways. Do you mind just giving a little sneak preview where those golden nuggets came from? I mean, from your wisdom, but how did you position everything you do? Because obviously I'm changing so many things I am doing as a
Hmm.
result of now connecting the dots that I was missing.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we overcomplicate humans. Like, we overcomplicate ourselves. We make ourselves uh seem like everything we buy is based on logic and like extreme analysis, and it's really not. There's just a few, everyone wants to feel important, like everyone wants to feel loved, everyone wants to feel uh you know like respected. So there are just like a few emotions, and then you just have to figure out like where your service or your product come in. So when it comes to like self-love, I know one of the things I mentioned was like cosmetics and stuff, and then you have to position your writing and your marketing to kind of touch on those behaviors and those like mass desires. So I'm actually I do a lot of studying. Like, I'm always trying to see how I can invest into improving my skill set, because there's people that are way better at me than at what I do, like in terms of like copywriting and the right messaging to attract it and convert somebody that visits the website into a customer. Like, how can my messaging be more clear? So I like follow the numbers, and numbers don't lie. So until I have like the best conversions and all of that, then I have to improve my skill set. So I'm just like reading a ton of copywriting books, marketing books, like just from like the top people, and not just like people that are theorists, but like people that have actually built 8, 9 figure businesses, through their copywriting, through their marketing strategies. Some of them of which like get paid like $200,000 to $300,000 to write like one letter, just because they get paid $300,000, but then the campaign will generate, $3 to $5 million. That's how valuable they are in like crafting words. So it's just about, the main thing is just understanding who you serve. And I don't think a lot of people even do that. So to understand who you serve, sometimes we think they're buying our service or product for one thing, but it's actually because of something completely different. So you have to have like more touch points with the people that are converting into customers. Like, that's why being on the phone with them is so important. Asking them questions is so important. Like, just beyond the demographic, like what are their behaviors, um, why are they buying your service or product, why are they staying in the community, what value do they see here? Because a lot of people, like even in Growth Academy, they may buy it, they may buy into Growth Academy for their own business, but then they stay obviously because of the community and because they feel supported and a lot of those other things. So it really comes down to like how someone feels and experiences your service or product. And you have to guide them into, giving you that opportunity. And once, statistically, once somebody gives you the opportunity once, then there's only really 3 ways to grow a business. And that's getting new customers, that's retaining the ones you have, and that's selling more products and the right products to the ones that are already your customers. So how can you do all of those 3 things and continuously innovate on them? It's really like, I keep it simple. I try to not complicate everything. Like
I love it.
A data chart and all of that is great to know like who my demographic is, but like talking to, let's say, 30 people on the phone, each of them for 5 minutes, and just asking them a couple questions and listening to, what they have to say or what they feel is important to bring up to me, can kind of reveal a lot more about who we serve than just like data on a chart.
And you're a master of both, actually. I never seen somebody, again, super smart, young, that is into data analytics, that is into measuring and checking out. I mean, I'm just looking, you just launched it, your podcast, and you already are, on top of the game of downloads and all the ratios and scenarios. And I was like, wow, it just blows my mind, because again, it's not just drive and passion, but you invest in time and efforts where it works. You know what it works. You know
exactly.
and you know what needs to change. So do you mind sharing a little bit about how did you start? I'm sure that was a tremendous part of your success, measuring what outcomes, right? But also anticipating what is coming and positioning for it. Do you mind a little bit in elaborating about that?
Yeah, like I'm observant, I guess, so I pay attention. And like with the podcasting thing, I realized I started to like audit my own behavior, like as a consumer, like as a customer. So during the whole pandemic, I started realizing that I was watching YouTube a lot less and I was listening to podcasts a lot more, just because, and then I asked myself why. And it gave me the ability to learn even when like I'm playing with my daughter or I'm cooking or I'm working. Like, I could do things. I don't have to pay attention to a video. So it's almost like it gave me, I could listen and learn, but I could do other things at the same time. So I was like, wow, this is really powerful. And then I also realized that I was like listening to sometimes the whole podcast, and some podcasts are 5 minutes, others are like 3 hours. So giving somebody 3 hours of your time in like a TikTok age where it's hard to gain 3 seconds of somebody's time is extremely powerful too. So I just started auditing my own thing. Then I did the research. Okay, like how many podcasts are there? What's the market show? Like, who listens to podcasts? So I started doing that, and it was like incredible. So there's like 800,000 podcasts, and a lot of people think that's a lot, but that's not a lot. That's like, there's like 31 million YouTube channels, 500 million blogs. There's almost a billion people on each social media channel. So 800,000, that's not even a million. And like less than like 10% of them actually post consistently. So now you're talking about less than 100,000 people that are taking this seriously. So it's like a blue ocean for you to take advantage of. And I was already doing LinkedIn Live. So I was like, let me just try it, because I make things as easy as possible for myself. So I was downloading the audio, uploading it. And then I'm also strategic. So I started to see like who's already in podcasting that like I could connect with, talk to, I could pay them to consult me, because that's another thing. Like you have to cut your learning curve. You know, you can't want everything for free. So if me doing trial and error for 6 months is going to get me to 10,000 downloads a month or 20,000 downloads a month, rather than like picking the right person, learning from them, they have to be doing it already. Obviously, it's not just a theorist. If I could pay them and I could achieve that same thing in 3 months just from what they teach me, then why wouldn't I do that? Because time is more valuable to me. So I did. I found somebody on LinkedIn and he was crushing it. And I saw who he had on his podcast and stuff. And I had a consultation with him and he broke it down. And I was like, okay, well, it really just comes down to action. Like you were saying before, I was like, now that I understand this, it's just a matter of me really implementing it. So it's been like less than 1 month of like serious podcasting, I would say. And it's not even that serious yet because I don't even have a real intro. We're working on that. But, we'll hit like 4,000 downloads this month. And then who knows where we'll be by the end of 2021. Like I have big ambitions. So now that I see that it's working, as long as I see that something is working, like that's it. I'm going to go 1,000 times harder, like because I'll put my attention and my energy and my time where things produce outcomes.
And that is brilliant. I love again your way of taking action, giving a try, measure, keep it track of it, and then if it's working, adjust it or not, and then keep at it.
Mm-hmm.
Because we live in an age where truly, as we're purposing the great content, we're purposing also information, because not everybody will see it when it comes
Right.
maybe first day, but having the library of great content, and as needed, also go and check it out based on the topic or current need or demand. I think it's also a brilliant way. And thank you for putting that in perspective, because I also started my podcast this summer during pandemic time, but I had it ready and prepped like 3-4 years ago. And was interesting at that time, I didn't feel it was right. Timing was not right. I was traveling a lot. And it's so interesting how everything comes full circle. And I'm so happy. I wish I started sooner, of course, but I'm so glad I did it this year as well. And
Yeah,
I feel
100%.
like we have so much more people to reach and so much great content to offer and great information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
go ahead.
and I feel the same way. Like if I could podcast and reach more people, help more people, and it's obviously still a blue ocean, then like why wouldn't I do that? It's something that could be leveraged. Like I could be sleeping and people on other time zones as me are already listening to it when they wake up and posting about it. Like why wouldn't I want that leverage?
Very, very important. But I want to also just for a second talk about a little bit, if that's all right with you, around the LinkedIn Live. You were one of the first people to really fully jump in LinkedIn Live. And obviously LinkedIn Lives can be recorded and then can be repurposed and utilized also as a part of your podcast content. But what I love about seeing connection, as you just mentioned, people from different time zones, from different countries, how global immediate feedback we get, and kind of keeping the pulse of the world in a way, just in those few either 20, 30 or 60-minute sessions and immediate exchange. Do you mind, for everybody that are kind of on the fence, how to start? Do they want it to even start, or how even to participate, since it's so new and you have so much expertise in it? Do you mind just giving a little bit of golden nuggets for our audience?
I mean, if you want to do more business, like if you want more clients, if you just want more profitability, you have to try it. Like you have nothing to lose. It's an extremely different game. Um, the first time I went live, it was uncomfortable. Like people think that these things come naturally to me. It's just because I do them more. Like I have a lot more practice. So if I'm doing 7 hours of live a week and you're doing none, I'm just gonna get naturally better, especially over a year or over 6 months. So I'm gonna get better at like picking guests and seeing the feedback of my what my audience wants. I'm going to get better at, you know, uh, transitioning my audience from live to sales because it's just practice. So it's not hard to apply for LinkedIn Live. It's just one application, and a lot of people, in Growth Academy have been approved very quickly. And so once you have that, it's why wouldn't you differentiate another way to connect with your audience? And right now it's people can't really go to networking events like they used to. They're really craving following somebody that brings that authenticity forth. And yeah, you could bring it in like copy or video, but nothing can replace live. It's the most authentic thing that you could offer someone, other than being right in front of them, having a conversation right in front of them. So why wouldn't you give your audience that access? It's like you're denying them of like the most authentic version of you. And even big influencers that I see that don't go live, I'm like, I question why. It's kind of like, what are you hiding? Or
Ah,
like, what are you afraid of? You know what I mean? It's like, why don't you,
yes, yes.
show up for your community and do it authentically?
Raw, real, and authentic. You spot on, and I think we need more of that. Authenticity is huge right now these days, specific because so much content is in front of us. And I just love again who you are and how you show up, how consistent you are, how certain accomplishments don't phase you. You're still very humble and very genuine, and those are the things that I found. Those are the things that are important to me,
Hmm.
and what I'm attracted to. So I'm really wanted just to say and kudo you for showing up in such a beautiful light in times when we truly people need it the most.
Yeah, and that was a big question. When the whole quarantine and lockdown started happening, I was like, okay, like things could get serious. And I know that like when people are under pressure, that it's easy for them, it's the easier thing to do is to stop and to, take care of whatever you need to take care of. And I knew that a lot of people, the first thing they were going to drop was their consistency in social, in marketing and stuff. But like when you look at the brands that have really grown through any kind of economic turmoil, they're the ones that have put in more during that turmoil and not less. So I made a commitment to myself at the beginning that I was going to show up for my community every single day, no matter what. And I have.
And you definitely do, absolutely do, and more than that, not just showing up every day, but you, I know as community is growing, you're still trying to reach out and engage with everybody and as much as possible. So it
Yeah.
is very admirable. A lot of times, and I know a lot of gurus and a lot of great accomplished individuals, but they're unreachable, they're untouchable. You have a
Mhm.
10-15 layers to even do that, even though we
Yeah,
know
it's
each other.
crazy. I don't even have a VA. Some people message me, they're like, is this Shaneé? I'm like, yes.
And that is what I love about it. Is like I understand that some people need assistance at some point, but just to have that level of detachment, I also
Mhm.
feel like loses the value of the brand and everything actually that person wants to stand for. And
Yeah.
and it's a barrier and it's unnecessary and it's kind of off-putting too because it's like we wanted to have the natural real encounters and by the time you get to schedule the podcast or have the conversation, I feel like exhausted. I like we went through the
I
13
know, right?
layers. I was like, oh my god, this person is more protected than some of the top secret guys I ever
Oh
knew.
my
So,
gosh, that's funny. Yeah, no. And like, obviously I've been presented with a million opportunities for it to be like that, but it's not me. I don't really schedule things that far out. I'm really focused like on the day, on the month, like the next 30-day outcomes. I'm hyper focused rather than, there's some people messaging me like, "Oh, my 2021 is booked," but like I want to invite you on a podcast. I'm like, okay, like, are we kidding? Like, you don't even know what you're going to be doing in 3 months. Um, I'm just that type of person. Like, I have, big like 10-year goals, but I also like bring it down to the micro because that's all we can really have control over in the moment.
And I'm so 100% with you. And when you deal with these like calendars and Calendly and books and stuff, I was like, are you freaking kidding me? And it's just that perception of being busy. I was like, are you really busy with, or just really
Right.
trying to appear to busy, and how truly effective this is? And because we have to have a room, we have to be able to navigate and have a room every single day. And I
Hmm.
absolutely can say how that resonates with me and helps
Yeah.
me with what I'm doing on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Shaneé,
A lot of people just want to know they lose a lot of business just appearing busy because, to appear busy, they take an hour to reply to a big prospect, and I've already closed the deal with them at that point. So, that's the cost of appearing busy.
very, very true. And a lot of that faking till you make it or whatever, all those different layers we do to kind of help us out to portray something that actually doesn't even serve us, let alone serve anybody else. And I'm glad that we're able to now, with all the medium, but also with the right community and right network, strip all of that and bring things much quicker to fruition. What I love
Right.
about it is it's no nonsense. Takes away all these extra 300 decision makers and all the other bullshit. I'm sorry that I'm seeing that is, I was like, it's just so annoying. And then like on the end of the day, it's just so much noise. I was like, let's just eliminate all of that. So
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah, just so if anyone's listening and you message me, it may take a few minutes for me to get back or whatever, but it is me. I don't have a VA.
yay, she is going to show up. That's fantastic. And,
Yeah.
and as you said, you hyper focused on now, but even though you have a 10-year plan, do you mind just sharing just a little bit with audience what is coming? What are you, what's some of your biggest goals or dreams that you are focusing on or desiring that you feel comfortable sharing? And also, obviously you already have tremendous legacy for somebody who accomplished so quickly so much by having these attributes
Mhm.
that we just talked about: being authentic, being real, being genuine, being truly focused on people and loving people and wanting to serve them in the best possible way. So I'm eager to hear, what would you like your lasting legacy to be now that you start unfolding rapidly further and further?
I mean, I my ultimate legacy, I guess, is to just inspire at least 1 billion people. Like, that's get known and continue to inspire people. Um, I not only want to attain obviously tremendous wealth, but I want to create millionaires. I want to help people become, millionaires in their own right and give them the tools to do so. And, one of the things in 2021 is that like I'm extremely tuned into the feedback of my audience. So it's definitely time for a book. So I'll definitely be releasing a book in 2021, and then just continue
Yay.
and then just continuing to grow Growth Academy. Like, we have, a big vision for that, me and the people that are involved in both English and Spanish. So it's truly just the beginning, and just continue to grow, like help people not only survive during times like this, but to profit just through their skill set, through their story, and being able to attain a freedom where they could profit doing what they love from their home or wherever, from vacation or wherever the heck they want to bring their laptop right that week. But that's really what freedom is, and it's changed my life. So I want to help other people do the same.
That is extraordinary, and I absolutely love it. And I know you're going to make all of that happen, specifically reaching over a billion of people. And one thing I wanted to say genuinely, Shaneé, in closing, your work and everything you're doing, and just the way, again, energetically how it resonates with people, you're also giving people hope and giving them a chance when nobody else would. And a lot of
Yeah.
people are in pain and being broken and on their knees, and not having the support, and just having community where they feel that they have something to offer and something to
Yeah.
bring to table. And just by believing in them, I'm seeing some of the things that are happening cohesively, because I'm always paying attention of team dynamics and everything else that's going on. I just wanted to say it's beyond touching, and just warms my heart seeing how many people as a result are shining in such a short period of time.
Yeah, it's been incredible. Some people they enter Growth Academy and they're like looking for a job, and then 2 months later they're like launching their business. And like I'm like, okay, that went differently, but it went very well. You know what I mean? Just because they start to really see like the value in what they have to offer, and like how they could offer it to the right people. And instead of having to go somewhere and clock in and get paid, let's say a secure or whatever $6,000 salary, they realize that they can make more from their laptop and be able to provide more for their family and stuff like that. So, like I said, like even what I expected, it has already been trumped in just the first 3 months in Growth Academy. Some of the transformations have been amazing. So I'm really looking forward to like what 6 months looks like.
Wow, I can't wait to be part of that journey. And for everybody that is listening and watching, guys, I just have to say I'm super thrilled, because I'm single, live by myself. I'm in, and it's just so great to have, again, community interaction,
Yeah,
these
yeah. I mean, we can't
conversations.
go out and be with each other. That's another thing. Like people want, and it's not just they want to like go online and feel connected to people. Like they want to be part of a group or a community that with like people that are dreaming as big as them, that are taking actions as big as them, that wake up every day and want to strive to do better. It's easier when you're constantly like in touch with other people that are taking action, are consistent. It's easier to get up in the morning even if we're isolated and kind of feel like we're doing it together. So that's really my goal.
That is fantastic. And for everybody that wants to reach Shaneé, I will have a links, but it is Growth Academy and a Growth Entrepreneurs podcast.
Hmm.
Anything else you'd like to share with the audience in the closing, Shaneé?
No, just, I mean, really audit what you want in life. Life is short, and audit the legacy that you want to leave behind. Be very clear about it. And then just match your actions to whatever it is that you decide. It takes time, it takes a lot of hard work, but with the right people around you and you plugging into the right community, it could take less time and you could get the results faster.
Brilliant. It was absolute pleasure to have you on the Legacy Leader Show, and I'm so super thrilled to see amazing legacy making and unfolding in front of my own eyes. So, guys, again, please make sure you check on Growth Academy and Growth Entrepreneurs. And Shaneé, we look forward to seeing you in the real world. Thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
100%. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely. Thank you for listening to Legacy Leader Show. If you enjoyed the content and had a positive experience, then please leave us a positive rating. In addition, leave us a positive review whenever you are listening on whatever platform there might be. Make sure your friends and family also know about the benefit and value that we provide and what we have to offer. Cheers.